Hello. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, dear. Is that the Inside Out scene behind
Yes,
you?
it is. Yeah, it is. I like the movie. What do you call it? So right now I'm trying to show my screen so I people can sign in, and like with the QR codes. But I'm also like thinking I could just post the links on in the chat if that would be easier because I'm not managing. I just sent a message to chat. And then let me put a message. Okay. All right. Do you think we should start at 6 or a little after 6?
Minutes. I think Zoom meetings are like parties. No one wants to show up exactly on time because everyone's afraid of being first.
Yeah.
Hello. How is it?
Hi. Do you say your name Marie or Mary?
Marie, I think, but to me both sound the same because
Okay.
my first language is French, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for coming.
Yes. What's behind you?
I was doing an internship at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, so that's one of the buildings there. But right now I'm in Canada, actually. Where are you based?
Florida. I think we're all in Florida, right, Annabelle?
Okay. Yeah. Most people are in Orlando, where it's like 70 degrees.
Yeah.
I need to convert that.
Almost 80. Yeah, it's like 80 degrees outside.
Wow, quite
To give you weather envy.
Yeah.
Hi, Kira. Hi, Lena. Just
Okay.
seeing you now.
Hey.
Let's see. think we're still missing one more host, so we're gonna wait for them for at least 5 more minutes and hopefully get started around 6:05. And we want one more panelist. All right. Actually, it turns out Sosa won't be able to make it. I just got an email from her, unfortunately. Okay, but we still have 3 awesome panelists. Let's see.
Hey, Camilla.
Okay, it's 6:05 and I think it's a good time to get started. So hi, my name's Indira. I'm the secretary of ACM and ACM-W. Super excited to finally have this event and share it with you guys. So today we have 4 different panelists. We have Mary Philippe, Lena Elizabeth, Kiara Page. I mean, 3 panelists, but they're all women creators on YouTube, specifically focused on relating or creating content related to tech. But they're all personally to me, all really motivational, and I personally admire them because they have the guts to just share their life and their journey through tech on YouTube. And yeah, I think that's great. So super excited to have them here to share their experience creating on YouTube, the significance of sharing your story on tech, and maybe even give some advice to everyone here about what you could do to start your own YouTube channel or other social media presence related to your own tech journey. So that being said, I think we can go ahead and introduce or have our panelists introduce themselves. So to our panelists, if you could tell us your name, your YouTube channel name, whether you work, go to school, or both, and then out of all the videos you've published or content you've published, what has been your favorite to have created and published? So I guess we can start with Marie since she's first on mine.
Okay, so hello everyone. So my name is Marie-Philippe Gill, and online I'm under Girl Knows Tech. So my YouTube channel, I also have a blog and an Instagram account. So my occupation is that I graduated from undergrad a year ago in software engineering, and I have continued to do a master's in IT. So right now I'm working in machine learning, and my subject is using smartwatches to predict the severity of Parkinson's disease symptoms. So it's very interesting. And that's what I'm doing. I try to think of my favorite content, but it's a difficult question. I think it would be one of my vlogs, like one, because it often happens that I try to film a vlog and I end up stopping to film in the middle of the day because it's hard to remember throughout the day to always film what you're doing. And so I think one of my favorite content would be one day where I didn't forget and I did film everything interesting that I did during my day. So that would be my answer.
Awesome, thank you. Lena, you want to go next?
Sure, I can go. I'm Lena. I go by Lena Elizabeth online, and I currently work in New York City as a software engineer. I too also graduated last year from undergrad in May, so a little less than a year ago. And my favorite content, as you said, that's kind of a hard question. But I just made a video about working in a WeWork, and I also have a video on my channel about working at my actual workplace, and those two I really like.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, I'll go next. Hi, everybody. My name's Kiera. I am a senior in college this year, and I'm also an intern at Boeing Space. I'm majoring in computer science and mathematics, and at Boeing, it's located in LA, but I actually haven't gotten to go there and have a regular work schedule just yet because it's all virtual. But I'm a software engineer / cybersecurity engineer in their testing and evaluation center. So I do that, and then obviously also I'm a YouTube content creator, and also I create content over on Instagram too. My YouTube is Kira Page, and my Instagram is Coding with Key. And as far as my favorite video goes, I was kind of sitting here thinking about it, and I think it has to be like the first video I ever made. And only because it was a day in my life, and I like vlogged at school, and I remember being so scared and so nervous to like be filming, and it was just such like a genuine video. And at the time it was like right before COVID hit, so that was like one of the last normal days we ever had at school, so it's probably my favorite. Also, thanks everybody for being here.
Cool, thank you for sharing. All right, so now that we've introduced all of our panelists, I think I want to get into kind of the beginning of your journey on YouTube. So my first question is, what inspired you to start a YouTube channel related to tech content, but not necessarily always all about tech content? Because I know you guys show different parts of your life too. But we can start with Mary again.
So I don't know why, but I was also involved in a student club for women in engineering at my university. And what happened was that for a year by that time, I was writing regularly on my blog, Girl Knows Tech, and I was at the open house for the school. And I remember I was talking to a girl, and like she was asking me very directly, are you being harassed by men every day here at school? And I remember I was telling her, no, everything is fine. Like I'm very happy and everything's good. And I could see in her eyes that I was not convincing her. And so I was still thinking about creating a YouTube channel, but when I saw that I could not convince her, I thought maybe I should create a YouTube channel. And that's also why I like to do vlogs and just really try to show my day as working in tech and try to really convince everyone that we can be very happy as women in tech and thrive in that environment. So I think that's why. And also, I live in a French region. So I live in Canada, but here in Quebec, we mostly speak French. And so another thing that was motivating me is that I knew that my English was not very good. I think I've really improved on that side since then. But YouTube was also a way for me to improve my English speaking. So I always feel like it's a little bit of a weird reason, but yeah, I guess it was at that time, it was one of the only ways where I could really practice my English on a everyday basis. So yeah.
Cool, thank you. Lena, you want to go next?
Sure. So on my channel, I didn't actually intend it to be for like a tech YouTuber channel. I watch a lot of YouTube. I like making videos, so I thought it would be fun to start a YouTube channel. And I started right at the beginning of quarantine, just as kind of like a hobby that I wanted to do because I had more time. But then I realized that the videos that really caught on and the videos that people most resonated with were my ones about sort of my tech lifestyle. And at that point, I sort of started a new job as well as a software engineer, and people really seemed to like that content. So that's kind of when I sort of pivoted my channel more towards being about tech. But it definitely, well, not definitely, but it wasn't my original intention. And I didn't think that it was going to become what it is today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like my sophomore year, I was changing my major to computer science. And the reason I actually changed my major to computer science was because of like day in the life videos. And I had stumbled across this girl's YouTube channel, and she was like a Google intern, and she was just awesome. And I was so inspired by her. And, you know, I look back at that and it totally changed the path that I'm taking in life. And so when I switched my major and I kind of got more into computer science and more into coding, I realized that I wanted to kind of do the same thing that she did for me. And I'm really passionate about women in STEM and how there's just not enough of us. And not only just women in STEM, but diversity in general in STEM. But I can offer the woman side of it. And so I knew that if I just got on YouTube and I just started showing my life as a computer science major, as a woman, and how you can be, you know, you can wear makeup and you can also be really smart and you can also, you know, go do this and that and it doesn't matter. And, you know, here's an example of it. I knew that if I could just inspire like one person to go into STEM or go into computer science, then that would just really, really make me happy. And, you know, now that my channel has grown, I would have never expected that, but I feel like I've accomplished the goal of, you know, why I started. And yeah, so I'm really happy with YouTube, and that's kind of why I started.
Awesome, thank you. All really great points. I especially like everyone has a completely different experience and a completely different journey through tech, and all of those are valuable and can attract or be related to anyone coming into STEM. So thanks. So my next question is related to kind of the feelings that you were thinking or your thoughts before posting your first video. So specifically, how long had you been wanting to post on YouTube before your first video, and what feelings or thoughts were resonated that finally got you to take the plunge and post that first video?
Should I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm not sure I remember, but one of the okay, so I'm gonna start by saying the types of videos that I make, so it will make more sense. So I'm doing vlogs, sit down, more informational videos, but also I'm doing study with me videos. So if you're not aware of that already, study with me videos are like live stream where you film yourself while you're studying. So it's like a virtual study group. So instead of being all around the table at the library, it's just over YouTube or Twitch. So those are the first type of videos that I started doing. So, and at first I was not comfortable also talking to the camera in English and just showing my face. So I think that was a very great way of getting started, because I remember at first I would just film my desk and my hands and like my books. So it was very easy, and every month I started, like after a month I started talking and then showing my face and things like that. So I really went gradually and worked from there.
Mhm.
Yeah, my first video, I was actually still in college, but it was at the end or the beginning of COVID, but the end of college for me. So it was just a college day in my life, and I just posted it to have fun and share with my friends. So I think kind of making the hurdle a little less meaningful in a sense, or just not thinking about it as such a big deal. I feel like all of your videos always get better than the previous videos that you post. So it doesn't have to be like the best thing you've ever done, but just posting a video, that was helpful for me when I posted mine.
My first video, like I said, was just like a day in my life. And it was so funny because the only reason that I was able to like upload that video is because I told myself nobody was gonna watch. And I was like, nobody's gonna see this. Like, it doesn't matter if I post it. Like, random strangers are gonna see it. And ironically, now that's my most viewed video on my channel, of course. And so yeah, I think it just made me more comfortable to tell myself that nobody was going to watch, even though they did. And that's how I kind of jumped that hurdle and just dove right into it.
Mhm. Awesome. All right. I guess this is a similar question. Do you ever wish you started your channel or online presence earlier? And was there anything stopping you before?
I don't think so, because I feel like I started in the beginning of my second semester of undergrad.
Mhm.
I feel like I started pretty early. Like here in Quebec, I also did 3 years of computer science before my undergrad, so I could have started earlier, but I think I was just too young, and I don't
Mhm.
consider that I was ready. Let's say so. I
Mhm.
think I started at the right time for me, and I don't think there's like a perfect timing or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't really expect it to become what it is now. So I'm happy I started it when I started it. And it was also the time that I had the most free time, I think, to work on it. So I think that timing was really helpful. But whenever you can start is a good time to start, I think.
I kind of agree. I'm not regretful of when I started. I don't wish I would have started earlier per se. I feel like I started it just at the right time because I think I was like 2 semesters into computer science, and then also the summer after I started my channel. I started it in February of last year, and then I started interning at Boeing in like June. And so it was just like good timing that I started my channel before I went and like interned and, got further into my degree and stuff. So I would say the timing is perfect.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so that kind of covers like the beginning of your guys' journey on YouTube. I know someone posted a question just now, but I'll leave some time at the end so we can answer anyone's questions. So if you have questions, please post it in the chat. So my next question, or my next set of questions, relates to kind of where you guys are now. And my first question to that is, how has your experience creating on YouTube impacted your experience within the tech community or the tech industry? Like, what have you learned about the community?
I was not inspired by that question. Can somebody talk? Lena, were you inspired?
I don't know if it has really impacted me in that kind of way. I guess like this panel, for example, is probably the first example of a cool experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise had I not started that channel, in a way that I've connected with other people. The other part, obviously, is the community that I've built online and the people that message me on Instagram and things like that. I find that pretty heartwarming. It's nice to hear from them. So I guess those are kind of the main things that I've gotten out of it in regards to a tech perspective or a community perspective.
I feel like I've gained so much from, just creating content. In terms of YouTube, it's just really inspiring to see the comments of like, oh my gosh, I went into computer science because I saw your video, or, those types of things. But in terms of like really tangible experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise, especially on Instagram, there is a huge, huge community of women in STEM, of pretty much all walks of life in every industry, and that is a fabulous fabulous networking opportunity. And just an example for me, I work in cybersecurity, and there's not a ton of women in cybersecurity on Instagram. And so we kind of run in like a tighter circle. And a few months ago, a girl that I had met over Instagram, she was like, hey, I'm actually a cybersecurity engineer at Snapchat. If you'd be interested, I would love to, pass your name on. And so just examples like that, where you have made an opportunity with somebody or made a connection with somebody who you would have never had the opportunity to meet before, is like one of the most valuable things that I've gained from creating content. So
Awesome. Thank you. I guess this is a similar question. You guys might not be inspired by it, but it's what kind of opportunities or experiences your position as a content creator allow you to explore or consider?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah. What kind of opportunities or experiences does your position as a content creator allow you to explore or consider?
Okay. So I guess for me, like the opportunities that I get, one thing that I really like is that I can collaborate. Like I can collaborate on social media with companies that I would actually love working at. So I've worked, for example, in Montreal with 2 AI companies, and even lately, I will be looking for a full-time job soon. And now that I'm getting collaborations, emails, I'm like, oh, I'll be looking for a job soon if you're looking for people. And so that's helping me to get the job opportunities right now, and also just internships throughout my undergrad. I was in a co-op program, and I don't think I even did any interviews actually. I just found my 4 internships with contacts and people that I know. And I think when they see that you have like a long-term side project, employers really like that, because they know you have that like ability, and you like working and not giving up halfway, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I feel like during the time that I've needed to look for a job or apply to school or things like that, I didn't have my YouTube on the side. So I didn't really have the same experience of being able to use that, I guess, as something you could talk about in trying to get jobs, or use it as a network in a way to meet more people. But I guess a thing that it has given me, which has been really interesting, is I feel like my network before YouTube was very much not insular, but kind of the same types of people. But with YouTube, I've been able to meet a lot of different people who do things similar to me and have similar interests to me, like are women in tech, for example, but are in very, very different roles that I didn't know of before. So that has been really exciting.
Cool.
And I totally echo everything they say. I don't have anything else to say about that.
Okay. Let's see, my next question. So what is your favorite part about creating and publishing content on platforms such as YouTube?
So what is my favorite part? It's hard to say, but I think I found myself a passion for like social media and marketing, which I didn't know I had before. And that's something that I discovered, and it's probably my favorite part, because like I guess my YouTube channel started also with my blog. So when I created my blog, I created all my social media accounts, and then I developed YouTube. So for me, it all goes together. Like if I publish a blog post, I'll try to make a YouTube video and etc. So I think for me, that's just, I really like promoting the content that I create and marketing. So that's something that I've discovered and about me, which like maybe I would even have considered like going into marketing, or like I could have taken marketing or tech if I had known earlier. So I like that.
Nice.
Yeah, there are a couple things I like. First, the creativity of making videos. I don't think that there's another thing going on in my life that provides me with the same level of creativity. My job is creative, but in a very different way. And it's a lot more structured and related to technology. So the ways you can be creative are all about technology versus YouTube. It's obviously you get to make this whole video, or you get to make whatever, this post on Instagram and things like that. And another thing is I feel like it's kind of like running your own business and learning about, how to market yourself kind of as you were saying before. So I definitely second that. That's been a really interesting experience and I've learned a lot from it.
I totally agree with Alina. My like number one and only creative outlet is like YouTube and Instagram. So I'm totally on the same page as you. But another thing that I really, really have enjoyed about making YouTube videos is I make vlogs, and then I also make some sit down, like more educational videos. And something that I feel like I struggled with a little bit before that I didn't know that I had some room to improve on was, so I'm like an introvert and I also work in tech, which, you know, doesn't always require you to, you know, explain your ideas or, you know, really communicate with other people in an effective way. And I feel like through YouTube and through making those sit down videos, I feel like my communication skills and the way that I convey information so that people will understand me and will take something away. I feel like my skill in that has definitely improved. So those are probably my two favorite things, just improving, you know, effective communication and then obviously a creative outlet.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. So this is like the opposite question. So what are the hard parts about being a content creator on YouTube?
When I thought about that question, the first thing that came to my mind is the bad comments, I guess. So, like, I know one that I get very often is that I have like a big forehead. So I guess when you get the same repetitive comments like very often, that's the only thing that can get to you. But the other thing that I didn't know I was like that before, or I don't know, maybe it's the camera effect, but something else that people have told me is that I'm not very expressive. And so, for example, when you do a vlog, I think even when you're on camera, you have to be even more expressive than you, I don't know, like you have to be expressive, I guess. So that's something else that I find hard because I guess that's not something that I do naturally. But also I tell myself that I guess you need all personalities to be on YouTube, and I'm less expressive and that's how I am, so that's okay too. But I guess that's a little bit hard because like I wish I could be a little more expressive, but that's not how it is.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the negative comments until you brought that up. You probably have a much bigger following than me, but yeah, I think especially being a woman online, especially in tech, compared to other content creators in the space who are female, I think a larger proportion of our viewers are male. I don't know if that's the same for both of you, but it's definitely true for me. And I feel like there's a lot of vaguely sexist comments or just things of that nature that I don't really see. I watch a lot of other YouTube videos of people who are not necessarily in tech, and I feel like it's definitely more of a common theme on my channel. So kind of dealing with that and recognizing that there are people who are watching that who, you know, don't really have positive things to say about me or think of me differently because I'm a woman. I think it's coming to me more face to face rather than in the workplace. I feel like it would be really minor microaggression, but on the internet, people are free to be however mean they want to be. So I definitely second you there. It can be challenging in that regard.
I was thinking about this question earlier today, like what is truly like the thing that I struggle most with? And the negative comments definitely crossed my mind. I feel like we've all, you know, that's just part of the deal. When you start making content online and you gain an audience, that's a given. You're gonna get hate comments. And like I've had like, I don't know why, the first hate comment that I ever got, I will never forget it. It was like, computer scientists don't wear makeup, like leave the coding to men or something like that, like something so ridiculous. And that like rocked me. And after that, after I like sat with that and like processed it, I was like, this is so dumb. I haven't really been affected by like negative comments as much. I don't know why, but I just kind of moved past that. So all day today I was thinking, I was like, what is it that like I really find the hardest about, you know, creating content? And I think the hardest thing for me was I didn't know that when you sign up to create content, you also sign up to be a lot of different things. You sign up to be a digital strategist. You sign up to be, you know, sort of a business owner. you sign up to be somebody who people trust online for information and, you know, sometimes even as a friend. You sign up for all these things that you probably didn't know how to do before. And I definitely think, for me personally, I can't speak for you two, but for me, that's been like a huge learning curve. Like, how do I work with brands? How do I, you know, make sure I stay authentic and true to who I am through my videos and, you know, through all the hate comments and all of that. Yeah, I would just say balancing everything, learning how to, you know, be a jack of all trades, you know, in business and being on camera. Yeah, I would say that's the hardest part. Not necessarily a bad thing, but definitely hard.
Mhm. Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. So my next question is, what kinds of videos do you think viewers most respond to?
I think for me that would be the sit down videos or like Q&A, that I answer questions that my audience have been asking me for a long time, and then I make it obvious in the title. But yeah, I think it would be the sit down videos, because you can get, like, for example, I have a video which is tips on how to stay focused. So I think that answers like a very important question that many people want to get tips for. So I think that would be the most successful content for me.
For me, it's definitely more of my daily life, my daily vlogs. I think people are interested, in my case in particular, what software engineers do on a day-to-day basis. So whenever I make those videos, I feel like they can get repetitive, but people are like, no, I like hearing the content and hearing kind of the nitty-gritty of what goes on at work. So sharing that, definitely my audience responds to well.
For me, it's definitely like day in the life videos, or it's videos aimed at like people wanting to go into computer science. So like, you know, how do I start coding? Like, what's it like to be a computer science student? That sort of thing.
Mhm. All right. So that kind of wraps up my questions about like where you guys are now. And now I think I'll get into some of the advice you have for people interested in starting their own YouTube channels or other social media presence. So my first question is, what do you say to people who put off starting a channel or some form of social media presence because they feel like they don't have anything new to say?
I think everyone has a story to share, and that the story deserves to be shared. Like your own, we all have our own personal experience, so there's always someone to listen to that will resonate more with what you're saying. So I think we all have something to share.
Yeah, I totally second that. Don't have anything to add on to that.
Yeah, me too. And I feel like there's a perfect balance between like everybody is unique, everybody has a unique story, and you never know, like maybe there's somebody sitting out there who, you know, just like me, I live in Kansas, and one day I was watching that girl's videos and she was a Google intern. She changed my life, and you never know like who's going to be out there watching you, and you never know like what effect you will have on somebody, good or bad. And there's always a way to merge like who you are as a person with what you can offer somebody. So yeah, I'd say do it.
All right. So what would you recommend to anyone starting a YouTube channel?
So my first advice, the first thing that I thought about for this question was that it's hard sometimes to not let the numbers get to you, like not enough views or not enough likes or not enough comments or not enough reaction. But I think my advice for that is to really just focus on doing what you want to do and what you love doing, and maybe do it for yourself first too. Like don't think about the rest and just do what you want to do. And there are always ups and downs. Like I'm thinking about Instagram, but it's also true with it can also be true with YouTube. Like one video will not do well, and then the next one, like I had one video for some reason that went viral, and I don't know why. Like I guess it just worked. So really, just do what you want and focus on what makes you happy to create.
Yeah, I definitely second that. Doing it for yourself, I think, is the most important, and kind of setting a schedule and setting your goals based on what you think is achievable for you rather than, you know, what you think everybody else will like, because at some point you're going to have to keep making content if you want to keep making content. And if you're doing it for the numbers and for things like that, as you said, it's not going to be what you're interested in making. So that's definitely a part of it. And then I would also say, if you want to start, you should just start and start yesterday, start today. You know, the sooner the better, because then you're just going to learn and grow from that experience.
I would say before you ever even film your first video or make your first Instagram post or whatever it is, you need to sit down with a piece of paper and you should write down why you want to start creating content. What are you trying to bring to people? You know, what's really your purpose? And never ever lose that piece of paper, because it's tough. It's really, really tough to balance. And, you know, the hate comments come, the numbers do really good sometimes, they do really bad sometimes. Everything is going to change, but what should never change is your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing, and you know what that's all kind of based on. And a big tip that I have is you should always kind of make content about, like, you should have something to offer. So instead of just making videos about like you as a person in your life, like what can you offer somebody? And so yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Let's see. I think my last question would be, what can, well, where do you think, or where do you see your channel going in the future?
So I will be graduating from my master's hopefully in the next coming months. So I'm hoping that I'm actually thinking of taking like 2 months off before I find a full-time job. So I really want to take just 2 months and just have fun and work on all my Gyonos Tech content. So also when I find a full-time job, I'm hoping that it will take like, I really want to have a good work-life balance, and so I'm hoping I can create more content now because as being a grad student, like I'm working until 10 a.m. every night, and I'm working also all day on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm hoping now that my schedule will be a bit more clear because I won't be studying anymore, then I can use that time to create more content. So I'm hoping that I can create more and continue to have fun on that side.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, I'm not really sure. I like the direction that it's going now. I'd like to branch off into more different types of videos, maybe gain a wider audience beyond tech, or people who might be interested in tech but might not know about it, or things like that. So trying to reach that community, I think, can be a little harder, just because I think we all kind of do search engine optimization, SEO, things like that, to find very specific engineering content. But it would be great, I feel like, to reach young women who might not have considered tech. So I kind of want to try to go in that direction in a sense. And then also growing my Instagram, I just started that. So that's kind of a new thing for me as well.
Awesome.
Well, I think the most interesting thing about like I have a friend, her name's Sonia. I'm pretty sure she's on here, but the other day she called like the term for like people in STEM who are like influencers, she called it STEMfluencers. And I think one of the most interesting things about that group of people is that we don't, you know, our content is based off of our lives, our careers, what we've learned at school, what we've learned, you know, on the job. I mean, it's purely a reflection of what we do outside of social media. And so, like, for me, you know, where my channel is headed is completely based off of where I'm headed in my career. So I graduate in December, and I will likely go work for Building Space in LA. And you know, this is kind of a question I've been asking myself actually too, is like, when I, you know, graduate college, what, you know, what kind of videos am I going to make? Where am I going with that? And I think it's just one of those things that as I figured out for myself, I'll also figure it out for YouTube, and it will all just kind of flow the way it needs to flow. And I really think that your content should evolve with you. And so that's kind of my plan. As I grow and, you know, go do other things, my content will follow me. So
Awesome. All right, thank you. So that was pretty much like my last question for the panel. I think now we can get into like the Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, you can continue posting on the chat. But for now, I'll start reading some of the questions off. So from Rana, she says, on starting, how do you share a day in your life when you start? Don't you feel a bit embarrassed if you share it with people you know at uni or work? Don't you fear they would see you as pretentious?
I guess I can start. So for me, one thing that's interesting is that I struggle to introduce myself. So like when I meet new people, a lot of time others will introduce me for me. So for example, what I'm thinking about now is that I had a reading group a year ago now, and it was actually colleagues, you know, it's people like research scientists from the research lab I was at. And so this lady that's a professor there, and like I respect her, and she's actually introduced me, and she was like, Mary has so many followers on Instagram, she has a blog and a YouTube channel, and she was all talking to me about that, you know. So I don't feel like people would see it as pretentious. I think like sometimes you could be surprised it's the opposite, like in this case, in a moment where I don't introduce myself enough because I'm shy and I'm not, I feel like it's boasting, but I guess so, in some occasions you should do it because you should be proud of what you've done. So in that situation, I think they don't think it's pretentious. And I've actually, like, I guess the only, like right now, my advisor for my thesis, my research, he's following me on Instagram. So I think that's the only occasion where I'm a little bit shy because I know what I share in my stories. Like I just go about my day, you know, and I'm a little bit shy to say, oh, today I'm taking a day off, you know, and things like that, because I know he will see it. But it's just a friend. Like it's really nothing. I think it's going well anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when I started, I just started with YouTube. So people in my like extended circles, if you will, didn't really know about my YouTube channel because how would they find it? So I was able to sort of ease into it a little more by telling my close friends, and shout out to some of my friends who are here now supporting me. But I think if you have a good group of friends, you know, they'll support you in whatever endeavors that you want to pursue. So that's definitely a good start. And then at some point, you know, you just kind of have to own it. Like, it's really cool that you're doing this, and you just have to embrace it in a way. And when people find out, they find out. And I think it's much better to come at it head on and be like, yeah, this is something that I do and I'm excited about, rather than, oh my gosh, you found my channel. So now it's definitely reaching a point in my life where people outside of my close friend group are finding out about it. And that's definitely been something to work on for me. And yeah, it's been a good learning experience in that regard.
I think for me, and this is why I think having like a purpose outside of like, I just want to make videos about my life is so important, because if you are, you know, sitting there and you're like, I just want to film a day in my life. And I don't mean this to sound harsh in any way, but like, if you're just making content about like who you are as a person and you're not really giving anyone anything to offer, YouTube is so saturated that people aren't really going to care. And so if you're making a day in my life, and you know, this really goes for any video, but I really believe that even in a day in my life, so like for me, that was my first video, was a day in my life, and I just showed people my day. I took my camera to school with me. I was like, here's my classroom, here's me doing my you know, intro to programming assignment, this is my day. But the video wasn't about me. That was not what people were gaining from the video. The people were gaining the experience, you know, real, like a window into what's it like to major in computer science? What's it like to go to class every day and take computer science classes? That was the point of the video. And I think when you have a really strong purpose, and you have a really strong idea of what you have to offer through your life and through your experience, then it's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing if you know what your purpose is and you're really passionate about what you're doing. It could seem embarrassing at first, but once you really, really get rooted in what you're doing and what you're passionate about and what you want to offer to other people, I promise you will not feel embarrassed.
Okay, so Michelle asked, when did you start calling yourself a software engineer on resumes, LinkedIn, or on social media?
So I feel like this one is interesting for anyone in Canada because here the title is reserved for people who are member of the order. So even though I graduated from software engineering, I cannot call myself an engineer yet. I'm a train engineer, we call it, but I'm not even sure we can use that really. But basically, I need to do some exams and register and pay fees to the order and all that before I can call myself an engineer. So I guess only use the term developer here then, but I guess I would start whenever you have you have an internship or a job that you requires to write some code and develop. Like often I just use the title from the job posting actually.
Yes, I don't have the same experience since I'm based in the US. So I just started calling myself that when I got my first job as a software engineer. So at first I was an intern, so I called myself a software engineer intern. Now I work full time as a software engineer. So then I use that title. So using the job title, I think, is a good way to determine what to put on that kind of stuff.
Same here. I just use the job title.
All right, so Annabelle asked, how do your employers feel about you sharing your work life? Are you ever worried about saying something negative and your employer not being happy about it?
In one of my internship actually, I had it was a small startup, so I had a boss who was like, you should write a blog post on your blog and tell everyone that you're putting your blog on break because you're focusing solely to your internship. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. What are you talking about? And funny story, a year later, he was nominated for like best diversity startup of the year. I was like, what are you doing? Why is he like, he's telling me to stop my blog. Why is he nominated? But no, actually, I think it's the opposite. So far, I've been getting my internships because of my involvement in my blog and my projects and all that. So, and even in my last internship, the company was valuing so much diversity that I was being paid. I remember one time I attended like a Women in Tech Diversity Google panel. So I was paid to go to the Montreal offices of Google and just hang out there and talk about the company. So I think that was very good because now it makes me feel like I want to find like a position where the company values diversity as much as I do, and that I can continue to do my efforts there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I try to make it very clear on my channel that my own views are separate from my employer's views. So that's definitely one component of it. But in terms of people at work, the people that know about my online presence are very supportive of it, and they like being featured in it, and they like what I'm doing. So far, it's been mostly a positive experience, but it could definitely change. And unlike Marie, I didn't get my job because of my online presence. So I could see it potentially being a conflict at some point at a potential job. So we'll have to see how that unfolds.
So for me, I'm in a little bit of a different situation because I work in aerospace, and I work on I've worked on defense projects. I've worked on, I've had to sign NDAs. So for me, like there's just certain things that I cannot talk about in any circumstance. And so, my job, I'm doing this, and on YouTube, I'm sharing this. And I think it's just really, really, really important to know what your boundaries are, to know, what you can film, what you can't film. So like for me, when I step onto Boeing campus, I'm not filming. You cannot take pictures. You cannot absolutely not do anything. And so for me, I'm like really, really, really conscious about what I share online. And also just in terms of like saying something negative, I would never say something negative about a company that I would currently work for on YouTube or Instagram like that, just because I don't think that's very professional. So I guess I've never really run into that issue. But yeah, for me, I'm very, very, very conscious about what I share.
All right, so this seems to be like one of the last questions, and this is from Chloe. And this is specifically for Kiera. So she said she saw your story that you're in senior design, and I think she's wondering what kind of project you're working on right now.
Oh my goodness. So just a backstory for like everybody else who is on who didn't see my story about that. So I am taking my first semester of senior design. Some schools call it like a senior capstone, but if you don't know what that is, essentially it's like a year-long project you do in your senior year. And so like you pick a problem in society and you try to solve it in your world. So like I'm trying to think of a good example. So like I'm a computer science major, and I know one of the previous classes did a project where they designed an app where you could type in your grocery list and it would show you the most efficient way around the grocery store. And that sounds like a great idea. So they took it to the grocery store, and the particular grocery store was like, this is actually completely against our, business model. We make the most of our sales by people just walking around and, shopping. And so we want to offer you X amount of money to never sell this app. And so they made like a ton of money off of the app. So anyways, that's senior design. And I am actually in quarantine right now, so I can't physically go to class. And you can imagine how hard it would be to join a senior design group when you can't physically be there. So today, and I've been updating my Instagram story about this over the past week. So today I actually had to get into a group. And I believe one of the projects, so we're considering doing a few different projects. At my school, you have to do something called Engineer of 2020 requirements. Obviously it's after 2020, but that's just what the program is called. So you have to pick 3 things off of this list. And one of them is service learning, but it's also like an internship, a minor, some sort of leadership thing. So the last credit I need is a service learning credit. And so a lot of people tie that qualification into their senior design project. So we're considering a few different projects with a few different companies in the area. And also I think like the Air Force, the police department, the fire department, just a bunch of different, kind of government entities are hiring out students for their senior design project in exchange for like a learning service credit. So we're considering a few. I haven't decided yet. We haven't decided on which project, but that's the long-winded version of what's happening in my senior design class.
All right. I think Chloe continued on, like, so they team you up first and then you all pick your topic.
Yeah, so they kind of like showed us the projects first, and they said, here's all the projects you could do, or you can come up with your own idea. And then, so that was last week. And then today was the day that we all got into groups. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think that kind of wraps up all our questions. If anyone wants to voice any questions by turning on their mic, feel free. But otherwise, I think our panel is, favorite programming language.
Python.
Python.
Python, I feel like is the most useful one for me, but also I learned C++ so much in school so far that I have to add that to the list too.
All right.
I have a question.
No, you can.
So I know recently, well, I don't know if recently, but the controversy with the Google AI researcher leaving Google because of what happened. I was just wondering if you guys would use your platform like to speak out about like, problems like these or issues like this, because she is taken to Twitter and she, consistently speaks about it and, tries to gain people or tries to make, people see and hear this. But yeah, I was wondering if you guys would use your platform for those type of issues, if it were to happen to you, or maybe, within your workplace or somewhere. Yeah.
Personally, I think your question is if something like wrong was happening in a company, would you post about it on social media? And personally, I believe that there's like a way you go about things when you need to, I guess, whistleblow in a sense. And personally, really believe in professionalism, and I'm very guarded about what I post on social media. So I probably wouldn't, just because I think there's a more effective way to handle an issue like that. But I think that's a whole other situation. I think every situation is unique. So
For me, I think I'm someone, like I said it before, I'm a little bit shy. I mean, I'm someone who, first I would need to read a lot about it before I share it, because I really want to make sure that I know thoroughly what I'm sharing. So anytime I share something on Instagram, particularly, I try to know the ins and out. And second point, so I don't remember if I shared about Timnit when I saw it. I cannot remember, but yeah, I would need to really take the time to read thoroughly, and then I could share about it. But for sure, since I'm a little bit on the shy nature, I try to avoid to I mean, I think I share controversial. I mean, this is not really controversial, but like I do share my opinions online, but I feel like I still have a little bit of a guard just because I don't like being up there too much.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated question. It would definitely depend on the situation that you were in and all of the specific details. Another thing, I totally agree with both of what you have said so far, to consider, I guess in my circumstance, and it's probably true for a lot of people as well, like my job is how I survive. It's my livelihood. Like that's how I have income, right? So you definitely have to find that balance between being able to speak up against injustices and what's wrong and knowing when that line comes, and then also, trying to stay employed as well, right? I can't just get fired. That would really not be great. So it would definitely have to be something I really believed in, and obviously there's a lot of nuances that go into it as well.
All right. So Yvonne asked, what would you guys recommend is crucial to have on your internship applications?
I think like if you have internship experience already, obviously that, or any like research experience, that's always good. But you always really want to just highlight like any technical experience you have. So like programming languages, I'm assuming you're a computer science major. I guess I shouldn't have assumed that, but just really any technical experience that you can offer, any relevant experience in like clubs or coursework or whatever it may be is important to highlight.
Yeah, I second that. Any technical experience. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, any technical experience you have, if you have a cool project that's online, I feel like people like to see that kind of stuff as well.
Also, Marie, you said you're from France. I used to live in Toulouse, France for like 2 years. So just a side note.
But I'm not from France. I'm from Quebec,
Oh,
Canada.
you're not?
No, I'm in
Oh,
Canada.
did you? Oh, I thought you said you were from France.
No, from Quebec.
Oh, so okay. I must have heard you say, or you must have said you're from a French region. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
the province of Quebec, we speak French.
Yeah, okay. I used to speak French, but since then I've completely forgotten it. So
All right, so next question. Have you guys had any exposure to being an engineer before college or school, such as through family members or mentors?
None at all. I don't think anyone in my family went to, we even have, like I said before, we have a school before university here that we have to attend, and I don't think anyone in my family went there either. So my father is in construction and my mom is in a factory, so really not. And I think that was one of the main reasons why I was so scared of going into tech at first, because it's not traditionally, it's traditionally a man job, and also all of that. So no, not at all actually.
Yeah, my dad is actually a mechanical engineer, so I had that, but I don't think you should feel behind if you didn't have experience or exposure to engineering or coding or anything like that before college. I feel like college is the great equalizer and where everybody learns together. And I feel like, the thought of imposter syndrome, right? Everybody always feels like they don't know as much as everybody else, but in reality, you know, you're probably doing just fine. So I won't worry about it that much.
Both of my parents are actually engineers. My mom is a civil engineer. My dad's a mechanical engineer. So I feel very lucky. But the most like influential, like I guess, exposure to anything STEM was definitely the SWE conference. And if you don't know what SWE is, it's the Society of Women Engineers. And they have a huge annual conference, and it's just a great way. Like if you don't have any like parents or like family members or friends who are in STEM and you feel like you just want some exposure or an opportunity to network, that is a great opportunity. Going to like conferences and that sort of thing in an area you want to work in is a amazing experience, especially the SWE annual conference.
Awesome. Okay, so this should be the last question before our event ends. So is there anything you guys would have done differently in your careers?
My career has just started out, I feel like. So far, no. But there is not a lot there to look back on and critique yet. So I'm sure 10, 20 years down the line, I'll have a real answer to that question. But so far, not so much.
Me neither. So I guess I was a little bit of lucky, and you know, we have to choose here at 16 what we want to study in. So I guess I always chose tech, and many people like they switch major and things like that. And I discovered Neopet and HTML very young, so then I knew I wanted to tech, and I just went straight for it. So I wouldn't change anything so far.
For me, the only thing I would change is I feel like, and I feel like a lot of people, you know, kind of think this way. When I was looking for an internship for the first time, and it was like the first time I was really like interviewing and stuff, I feel like I had the idea of I will work anywhere for anyone. I just want a job. And I feel like looking back, I wish I would have been a little bit more driven towards like figuring out actually what I'm passionate about and what I actually want to do, and you know what's important to me, because you never know, like maybe I would have chosen to go down a different path than aerospace and space and that sort of thing. So just really being true to like what you want and what's important to you, instead of just, you know, you can either pick something or something will pick you, essentially. And so I wish I would have been a little bit more mindful of that, probably.
All right. I guess that runs up all our questions, and we've reached the end of our panel. So first, I just want to thank everyone for coming, especially all our panelists. All you guys have such great perspective and information to share with us, and I'm super glad that you were able to come to this event today. But that pretty much ends our panel. If anyone claps for our panelists, but very excited for where you go moving forward. But yeah.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. You were such a great moderator.
It was my first time doing something like this, so
you did great.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.